The things people don't talk about in business. That's what we're talking about today. Before we dive in though, I just want to say thank you so much if you have been a listener, a weekly listener for the last 2 years or however long you've been here. It has been such a joy, and I love sharing what I know so that you can take that information and implement it and put it into your life and make your business better. I'm so grateful that you have been here listening. So what we're going to talk about today is a little twofold in that we're talking about the things that people don't talk about in business and also a bit about the podcast here. I have decided to pause the podcast, and there's so many reasons that I'm going to tell you why. But I also want to talk about the journey of having this podcast because lots of people have asked me, how do you start a podcast? How do you grow it? Do all these different things. And I want to talk and address that as well as the things that people just don't talk about in business. And I want to start with what we don't talk about in business. And that is that we all face challenges. Business is a growth on hyperspeed. It will challenge you every step of the way. It will shine a light on your shadow. And parenthood, I believe, does the same thing, but business for sure. You really have to look at all of those icky places, all the feelings that come up and that don't feel comfortable, and it's edgy and it makes you crazy. And we don't talk about it enough that's what business is. I think so many people think that it's going to be easy, right? And there are a lot of coaches talking out there about business being easy. And I do think that there is room for that conversation, that it shouldn't be a grind. I 100% agree. We should be able to do business in a way that feels good for us, in a way that uses our energy in the right way and in the way that's most aligned. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to face challenges. I have never been so aligned in my business this last year, and I have so many times on the floor, tears in my eyes, grounding, breathing through all of the shadow stuff that I have released in the last year. And we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about that. When you do that hard work, when you look at your fears, when you look at what you perceive as shortcomings and look at them with truth, right? Instead of believing that everything in your head is the truth, looking at what from your soul is the truth. And that's what I think we don't talk about enough. So the whole reason I started the podcast 2 years ago now, we're on episode 100. The whole reason I started 2 years ago is because I wanted to create bingeable content. I really felt that was really important because I want to be able to find me, be able to binge a bunch of content, and decided they want to work with me based off the content, right? And so it was a bit of a long-term strategy funnel. And the other piece was I really wanted to make a commitment to myself that I could do this business stuff. I've been doing this now almost 5 years. And I think that's something to be said as well, that I didn't have right away, out of the gate success. It's taken time. It's taken time to learn skills, both skills of writing, skills of selling, skills of being visible, as well as skills of working with my own story and looking at my shadow and understanding all the ways that I limited myself. It's taken time to be able to do that. And while some people may have rocket ship success right out of the gate, most people don't. And I think when you can give yourself a little grace in the process that, look, this could take time, you give yourself room to grow. You give yourself that grace to not get it right the first time, right? And not feel like you're an idiot or falling apart in some way, So those are the two reasons. I want bingeable content, right? And then I also like wanted this commitment to myself. So I committed to 1 year, a new episode every single week. And for like transparency, I do have a VA that does the editing, puts the intro and outro and posts it for me. So really my time is recording and prepping for and recording and then putting together the little graphics and writing show notes. That's my end. She does the other. So she does like half the work, I would assume. I don't know how long she takes, but that aside. And even with having her help, I knew that this wasn't possible without her. I needed her to be able to do some of the more technical stuff. I would create the content, she would get it out there on the internet, right? And there were so many times in the last 2 years that I've wanted to quit. But I said in the beginning, when I committed to myself, I'm doing at least 100 episodes, at least a year worth. There we go. At least like 50, 52 episodes. And then I'll reevaluate if I want to keep going. And the only reason that I'm allowed to quote unquote quit or stop doing this is if it becomes too much of my time and I need to give my time to something else. And I was under no circumstances allowing myself to quit if it felt hard or if I felt like I didn't have anything to talk about. Those were under no circumstances why I allowed to quit in those times. So yeah, there were definitely times that I was like, I don't know what the hell to talk about. And also times that I'm like, this feels like, oh, this is just so much work. It wasn't that I didn't have the time. It was that it felt like a lot of work. And this is when I think most Manny Gens and Gens get lost and confused because they're like, oh, this feels really heavy. I don't want to do it anymore. And you have to get radically honest with yourself. Number one, what did you commit to in the first place? And number two, like maybe it's feeling heavy because you're not getting the response back. And that was a lot of times why it felt heavy for me, is that I felt like, no, like anyone listening, I don't even know. And usually when I would be like, God, no one's even listening, maybe I should just quit, somebody would like comment or say that they loved a certain episode or something like that. So I'm like, okay, people are listening. Stop it, Rachel. Right. So, but I see so many Gens and Manny Gens, especially getting to, they're like, oh, this just feels hard. I don't want to do it anymore. And giving up on something before it really has wheels and traction and momentum to go. We forget that there is a momentum. You're pushing a boulder at first before that boulder is able to really take and go on its own. You have to give it time and effort. And sometimes that time and effort, you don't see any results. It feels like the boulder's not going anywhere. And it can tell you that that's almost never the truth. There's so much going on behind the scenes that we have no idea. We have no idea who's listening. We have no idea who's watching in the shadows. And we have no idea what the universe is actually planning. So you have to get really radically honest with yourself. Are you giving up because it just feels hard and like no one's listening? Or are you giving up because of something else? Like be so radically honest with yourself on that. So that was my commitment. I got to the year and I'm like, I don't know. And to be honest, I stayed because my VA was amazing. And she was like, no, just keep going. You're doing great. Da, 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 da. So encouraging. And I'm like, all right, fine. I'll keep going. And I ended up doing a whole nother year. And here we are, 100 episodes, 2 years later. And the reason that I'm pausing is the reason that I laid out in the beginning. And it's taking too much of my time away from other revenue generating things. And as you know, we homeschool. I have like 15 to 20 hours a week. I don't have a ton of time. I have to use it really wisely and intentionally and make sure that what I'm doing is like for the vision of my business. And right now, I feel like there's a ton of content out there that if I didn't do some episodes for a while, I'd be fine. And I need that time back. I need that time back to focus on the other revenue generating things and nurturing and giving an amazing experience to the clients that I have. So I'm giving myself grace that like, no, this is the commitment. This is what I said. And here we are. This is time. It is time to pause. And I'm saying pause because I still have the desire to like maybe do another third season, but it's going to be like 10 episodes and it'll come out in a couple months and like a drip kind of thing where it's more chapters, right? Instead of every single week. And while every single week works for some people, again, you have to like discern what is working for your business, what is going to get you to your goals. And right now, this isn't part of the visibility strategies. The content that's already out there is doing the work, right? So I also want to talk about going back and looking at the last year and kind of sharing the journey of the last year. And this is always really hard for me because it feels vulnerable, right? To share what you've struggled with. It feels vulnerable to talk about, it feels like you're pouring your heart out, right? A little over a year ago, so November of 21. Yeah, or what year is it? November of 22? I don't even know anymore. You're a little over a year ago now. I made a radical change in my business and went away from what every coach was telling me to do and followed what I believed to be the path for me. And that's when everything changed, although I didn't know it until probably 8 months later. So again, like I didn't know anything was working, but I kept going. I kept taking every step that felt like aligned. Like it was almost robotic in some ways. I didn't allow my head to come in and say, this is a stupid idea. I just did the action and I didn't give it any second thought. I was like, nope, that's it. I'm going that way. Yep. That's the next step. I'm going there. Next step, next step, next step. And it all evolved and built on the initial momentum from that November decision. So long story short, I spent like 6 months in the red, building different digital products and building what I was hoping at the time would be a thriving business, that these digital products would feed into one-to-one and would create momentum for me. And that is exactly what it ended up doing. But it took like 8 months to really get that ball rolling. And this is when we don't know, we don't have the evidence. I had no evidence that any of this was working. A little bit in like, oh yeah, one digital product for $37 sold, or okay, a couple more sold. Great. I believed that it was working even when I had zero evidence that it was. And I kept celebrating every little step along the way, and ultimately created a group program. And then now this fall, like things have really picked up where one-to-one is on waitlist officially now. I just signed another contract. I'm like, it's on a waitlist now. And clients are paying in full. The group has the most incredible women in it, and I'm so excited to support them. The digital products are fantastically profitable. Like all of it is working synergistically together. And it's something that it's like I had the vision for it a year ago. I really did. I had that vision for it. And I believed that it was possible. And I kept taking those aligned actions, even when they didn't make sense to the outside world. I allowed myself the grace to make mistakes along the way, because I did. I made mistakes along the way. And every challenge that came up, I saw it as an opportunity that this was a layer of shadow that I needed to address. And it was like loud and clear that this was something every single time, whether that be confidence in what I do, that was a huge one. Because inadequacy is my unconscious sun shadow. A feeling like what I'm doing is enough, and inadequacy has always been a thing. Overwhelm has been a theme, and understanding overwhelm and when that presents itself and working through that. It's been client refunds and making sure that people are happy with what they purchased. And it's been, so many challenges. But every challenge, I didn't take it as like, this isn't working or I'm not any good. I took it as this is something that I need to learn. And in learning this, I will be able to help other people with it. And that is so true. Every lesson that I've learned, I have already applied it to a client that is going through the same thing. And I can say, look, I've been there. Here's how I navigated it. And here's how I can support you in navigating it. Right. So even though we're talking about messaging, it's part of your business. We can't not talk about strategy. We can't not talk about your energy and your mindset because I know how freaking important it is. Excuse me. I know how important it is. So I'm going to go there. And my cross of tension can really feel into those energies that aren't aligned. And I'll ask the question, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Are you like, I'm going to push your edge. I'm going to ask you, say, hey, this needs to be more clear. Even if you feel like it's too edgy to get clear. Like, no, we're going to push that edge. We're going to bring out the best of you and find your, polish your genius so that people can have the work that you do. Your work is so important in this world. We need more people that are helping people be who they are, right? We need more coaches out there telling people how to live the life that they want, right? And not for other people's standards or ideas or anything like that. We need more people living true to themselves, right? We're happier. We buy less shit when we actually know who we are. We have deeper, more meaningful relationships. We're less triggered and angry at other people because they have a different point of view. The whole world works better when we understand who we are and trust our own intuition. So we need more people helping people do that, right? That's what so many of my clients do. And even if you're not doing that specifically, your work, your zone of genius is needed no matter what you're doing. And the lie that I told myself is that my genius wasn't needed, right? And that only hurts myself for sure, but I don't have the opportunity to help people the way that I know that I was designed to help people. So, as a result of all of those decisions, those radical decisions, the belief that it was possible, the just not letting my overthinking come in and destroy things, I literally step after step after step. Now the business is it is literally what I was dreaming about a year ago. It's digital products that are profitable. It's a group. It's one-to-one that I freaking love. And I mean, I'm off the feast or famine. I am on I'm not worried about money coming in anymore. It just does. And that blows my mind. I don't even have a goal yet for 2024 yet because I'm just basking and floating in this bliss of holy shit. Wow, look at what I created. I am really fucking proud of myself. If that's not, I don't know, braggy, I don't know, but I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. So I'm going to give myself credit. I created this and I'm really freaking proud of it. And I want to help you create what you want and be able to speak your genius in a way that's clear and articulate and makes you so fucking happy. If you resonate with the content that I have out there and you deeply desire that business that feels like, holy shit, pinch me, I would love to talk with you. And I'm not even going to pitch. That was kind of a pitch. But anyway, the shit that we don't talk about in business, I mean, just to wrap it up and bring it full circle, is that we all face challenges. We all have to navigate triggers and crap that comes up. It's how you navigate that is going to ultimately decide create your business. If you can't navigate it, if you fall apart, that's the first thing to look at. That is the first thing to do before you do anything. is look at how you navigate the challenging parts and then really understand where your gaps in knowledge are and skills. And this can be selling, this can be messaging, this can be um, create just coaching someone if you're a coach, like really understanding where your gaps of knowledge are and not allowing that to like hold you back, but also learning the skills that you need to learn because that's what's going to take you to that next level. So your mind, your skills, and your energy, being who you are, trusting your intuition, that is the recipe to creating the business that you want. And that's what I've done. So that's it, my friends. I don't know when the next season will be. Sacred will tell. I don't know. But I do want to thank you again so much for listening and being here and watching. If you want to stay connected, make sure you're on Instagram in my Facebook group or on the email list. And that's it. Like, so grateful that this last 2 years have been so incredible and that you have been here and listened to episodes and devoured it and commented and shared and all the fun stuff. I so appreciate you. And I hope you have a wonderful January.